we have a monologue by an actor by the name of Dolan Byrnes. And I need to set the stage for you to understand what you're going to be hearing. The year is 1952. The Red Scare is running rampant throughout the United States. Right-wing fanatics are imagining communists behind every tree, under every teacher's desk, in the halls of the federal government, and even in the U.S. military. The House on Un-American Activities Committee is continuing its overreaching investigations into Hollywood studios, major celebrities. Careers are being ruined. Writers, actors, composers, producers, and directors are being blacklisted in a national racked by right-wing paranoia. People like Charlie Chaplin, Yip Harburg, Orson Welles, Paul Robeson are leaving the country or going under to find work. The great World War II General George C. Marshall, a key architect of the Marshall Plan which rebuilt Europe after the Second World War, was being portrayed as a soft-on communist and a traitor. None of this was going down well with the sitting president at the time, Harry S. Truman. He was in the final year of his presidency, and he was determined to be sure that the country knew loud and clear of his displeasure. And now here is Dolan Byrnes in a short segment of his one-man show, Give 'Em Hell, Harry.
And I have to tell you, it bothered me that when Eisenhower got into politics, he seemed to lose his guts. And it really came home to me when I saw him in a picture, smiling and shaking hands with Republican Senator William Jenner of Indiana. Now, you may remember that Jenner was the man who called the great General George C. Marshall a traitor to this country. And Eisenhower never, ever said a word about it. Now, Marshall was completely responsible for Eisenhower's entire career, but Ike never opened his mouth once. Now, to be fair, he did try to defend Marshall once. He went up to Wisconsin to deliver a speech. Now, Wisconsin was the stomping ground of the notorious Senator Joseph McCarthy. And when Eisenhower got to Milwaukee, McCarthy's goons got to him, and they convinced him to delete a section of his speech defending Marshall. Now, and I have them here. I have saved these words down through the years. Now, these are the words that General Eisenhower cut from his speech that night so as not to offend Mac the Knife. He said, and let me be quite specific, I know that charges of disloyalty have in the past been leveled against General George C. Marshall. I have been privileged for 35 years to know General Marshall personally. I know him as a man and a soldier to be dedicated with singular selflessness and absolute patriotism to the service of America. And let this serve as an example of how freedom should not be defended. Now, those were the words that General Eisenhower cut from his speech that night. And the topic of that speech was freedom. I really can't honestly believe that General Eisenhower sacrificed one of the greatest living Americans, in my opinion, to curry favor with the worst political criminal that this country has ever produced, Joseph McCarthy. Now let me tell you, I attacked that lamentable mistake of the Almighty every chance I got. I had to. He said that my administration were men and women with lips of traitors. Now I tell you folks, if you don't speak up about something like that, if you keep your mouth shut, democracy simply cannot survive. I knew I had to take on McCarthy, and I wanted to pick my spot. And the spot I picked was Massachusetts. For some reason, McCarthy was always very popular in Massachusetts. Now, the Democrats up there were very nervous. They said, Harry, take it easy on him. Take it easy on him. Well, when I walked into Symphony Hall that night, I was determined to give him one hell of a concert. Governor, Mr. Chairman, honored guests, it is a pleasure to be back in the city of Austin again And I hope that if in the future I find myself out of a job and indigent, that you will be as warm with your hospitality at that time as you are this evening. Now, this evening, I would like to talk about, if I might, a group of fanatics, and one fanatic in particular, who have enrolled in the so-called Great Republican Campaign of 1952. Because these fanatics are using a technique that was developed by one of the worst criminals in the world's history, a man named Adolf Hitler. And this technique is called the big lie. Now you all know how that works. You simply tell a lie that is so monstrous that it offends the hearer so much, and then you repeat it over and over and over again until it's finally accepted as the truth. Now, the big lie that these fanatics are telling about my administration is that it is soft on communism. It's a lie. It's a monstrous lie, and I state it here tonight unequivocally for the record. However, the threat of communism is real in this country and throughout the world. But my friends, we must never allow that threat to cause us to lose our common sense, to cause us to lose our confidence in ourselves, our confidence in each other, and our confidence in this great country. Because, my friends, it is just as easy for a communist to deceive a Republican as it is for a communist to deceive a Democrat. Now, I want to state that if there are any communists in my administration, they will be thrown out as soon as they can be identified. But I also want to say this. I want to say that they will not be thrown out without the due process of law and without sufficient evidence. Because by God, I still believe in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United States. Now, all this uproar began when a denizen of the political underworld, Joseph McCarthy, managed to get his hands, we don't know how he did it, but he managed to get his hands on some old, meaningless, out-of-date security investigations. Now, as I said, they were meaningless, they were old, they meant absolutely nothing. But this irresponsible man, Joseph McCarthy, threw them all into the public sphere. To this day, he has not been able to recover or uncover one single communist, nor will he ever uncover one single communist, because all that man carries in that bulging briefcase of his is a bottle of booze. And he manages to knock off about one bottle a day. My friends, I tell you, this man must be stopped, and be stopped now. Because not one of us in this hall tonight, not one of us in this country is safe from this irresponsible man, Joseph McCarthy. All you gotta do is cross him. All you gotta do is disagree with him. And he will set out to destroy you with every means that he can find. Tonight, as we stand here, as I stand here, in this hall, the reputations of countless Americans who are loyal, honest, decent, patriotic Americans are being butchered by this man, Joseph McCarthy. And I tell you, my friends, it is an American tragedy. It is tragic.